How you doing there? Um, I could make a big plain demo for you between these two amps and ABM. I do have a cabinet, 412 somewhere with the identical speakers in it and two inputs, so I can actually compare them side by side for you here later today. But I received this Stompman yesterday from Reverb Used. Thank you, Wayne. And I've been using the Quilter Super Block for a good while. It's got three voicings to it, as you probably know. Some of you might have found my channel from demoing the Quilter Super Block. I've always loved solid state amps. I've got plenty of tube amps. I love solid state amps, and the challenge, I've had over the last 15 years of designing pedals to go with any amp, solid state being the toughest. I've always said, if you can make it sound great in a solid state amp, it'll be incredible in a tube amp. And it's pretty much true. I found the Quilter Super Block to be pretty damn good at gigs when I wanted something on the floor and didn't want the hassle, bringing my tube amps to certain clubs that people get unruly at. Me and in Danville. And so I was bringing like a Tech 21, Trademark 60, Vox modeling amps, the Quilter, other Quilters, Fender solid state stuff. So I've brought a lot of stuff, through the years to gigs and used them here in the studio while designing because I wanted to, once again make things sound good for a variety of people, as well as the always easy target. Good tube amp. Oh, that's an easy target. Everything sounds good into them for the most part. But like I was about to say, I received that Stompman yesterday, and I was A-Bing the two of them, and at first I was like, and within 5 minutes, I really flipped on it. This is where I ended up with it. It's pretty different. You see everybody running these demos. They got the sag up straight up 12 o'clock, and that does sound about the best. It I don't know how to explain that control, but it just thickens it up a little bit. The presence I almost have off most of the time. I was probably playing a Gretsch, so I put it at 9 o'clock. But it's when it's off or at 9 o'clock, it's perfectly fine. And just like with the Quilter, I mean, I always would have the treble. That'd be a high treble setting for me on the Quilter. Same with that. It's trebly. The resonance gives you plenty of bass, and in a good way. It's just a good. It has the right amount. It just sounds great. Tone control does what people describe it doing online, where it'll all the way to the left, pretty full mid range, all the way to the right, scooped, and sounds good with everything in between. Reminds me of the tone control that's in custom amps when they've got a single tone control, and it's like a back sandal thing or a, etc. But it works very well. I wouldn't poo-poo it. It's quite great. Maybe the some of the old Quilter stuff had something similar to that, I would even say. But I was pretty blown away with it. It's got more headroom, even with the one speaker, which it runs at 25 watts with one speaker, one 8 speaker. It goes to 50 watts with two, where the Quilter remains at 25 watts. Anyways, it has a lot more headroom. And even running the gain up this high with a Telecaster, it's not breaking up much. It's just a beautiful push. It just, like it describes in the manual, it's an input gain. And it does just that. It doesn't get that much dirtier. It just hits the rest of the, power amp, quote unquote, harder, but doesn't really get it, to an ugly gain. It's very satisfying with a Telecaster at 3 o'clock there. I mean, it feels really good. It's punchy. It's a nice. It'll go into a nice overdrive. You push it with one of these two. It's fantastic. It takes Bizak Mule Gravy great. I mean, the two of those, I could definitely go out with that, reverb, delay, and Bizak Mule Gravy, and I'd be happy boy. In short, I don't want to make this too long. I will be making an A/B comparison, but the Quilter's going to be sitting home this Sunday when I'm playing this big outdoor gig, and I'll go with one cab. This thing has got plenty of headroom. It sounds very good. It's a very natural sound. I think it sounds bigger and better than the Super Block. Super Block's got a lot of variation. It's got the three voices. I'll use the 61 setting with the Gretsch, 65 with most everything else, and even use the 65 setting with the Gretsch. The 57 Tweed with my setup with this Creamback Neo. Maybe it's a little too MIDI. I've got 5E3s that I built back there, on the floor back there. Amps and modified ones and all these tube amps that I've modified and built. And I'm going to go out with the Stompman on Sunday and be very happy with it. That, probably have Mule Gravy going if it's not really hot in the direct sun, because it's a full germanium pedal with a buffered EQ added to it. But just Cush alone, I was playing the Telecaster into Cush and into that, and I was like, yeah, I could pretty much do anything I wanted there, and even happy, lead wise with just Cush and that, and hit that solo button, which, talk about that for a second. It's a nice boost. It's a nice boost, and with the thing, you can see that little knob back there. I've got it at 50%, and I found that to be a pretty impressive clean boost. Doesn't change the tone at all. It could very well be just a switchable second volume knob. I've done that in the past myself. Yeah, very impressed. Very impressed. And for the money, and well, forget the money. I'll be taking it out. I'll be going out with that and my pedals happily, and it's going to sound great. I already know that. I've been happy with the Quilter before at gigs. It always didn't. I don't know. Maybe it just compared to the my tube amps, it just sounded a little small. Is how I would put it. Like the 25-watt Quilter maybe lacks a little bit of headroom. People might chime in with the they make the 50s and the 200s and all these things with more headroom. I understand that. It still has that Quilter sound to it. I would say the Hughes and Kettner reminds me of other things, of other amps that are, more, Voxy, Marshall, mid-range forward, and less, low-end character than most Fender amps. But it's quite great. I recommend it. I paid $150 for it on Reverb, and I might pay shipping on top of that. It took 5 minutes for me to say, damn, thing's just more real. Very impressed with it. I'll make an A/B with the identical speakers later today. Have a great one.